Welcome to Gemini IGTV. I'm ESZBRZE, and today we are starting the Genius Behind the Pen series, the genius being me, and we're talking about my poetry book, ESZBRZE Poetry Collection by ESZBRZE. So today we'll be talking about the backstory behind the book, like the name and the whole process and the reason why I even started poetry and decided to do a collection. So this is the book, this is the front and that's the back, and that's my picture, and the book has a matte finish. It's available on Amazon for $22.22, and you can get the ebook copy, which is $9.99, or if you have Kindle Unlimited you can get it for free. So as far as me and poetry, I've always been a writer from a very small child, like little toddler, and I always loved writing stories because my imagination is vast, and writing stories has been my outlet and the way that I can express myself and make my imagination come to life. As far as poetry, when I was in the 10th grade, I entered creative writing class. I actually was in, excuse that truck sound, I'm by a busy highway. Poetry. Now, as far as poetry, when I was in the 10th grade, I enrolled in media class, but I realized that it wasn't what I wanted to do, or at least in that moment, that time in my life. And I was already writing on the app Wattpad, or Wattpad, however you pronounce it. I pronounce it Wattpad. And I found out about creative writing. I didn't know my school offered it, and I had found out about it, and I had switched from media to creative writing. And the first unit that we did was poetry. So I've written poetry in the past during English class for all throughout my school years, and I always liked it, but I felt it was limiting because when you're doing certain poems, they have certain syllables that have to be stressed, and certain amount of stanzas, and when you're doing the different types. I prefer free verse, which is pretty much all my poems. And yeah, I prefer free verse because it's just no limitations. It's I don't have to think about when I'm writing, because it's like when I'm writing I kind of go into a trance almost. So like my pen is just moving, like my mind and my hand are very connected, obviously, but it's like I just start moving, and last thing I'm thinking about is how many stanzas or syllables and this line and then the next line, and it's yeah, no. I leave that to the other poets. But yeah, so for ESZBRZE, it's a compilation of poems that I've did for the past 2 years. I started, let's rewind back a little bit. So back to 10th grade year, I started creative writing, and our first unit was poetry, and we had to write a random autobiography, and I wrote it like the day before it was due, the night before it was due, because I had started the class. It was the very beginning of the school year, but like that class, they had already started what they were, like the project that they were working on, and my teacher was like, you can hand it in, and I was like, at this time or at a later time, I'm like, I got it, I can hand it in, I'm a writer, so writing is my thing. So I did it the night before, and surprisingly, it took me like 15 minutes, and it's like one of the greatest pieces that I ever written. It's actually not included in this book. I'm saving it for later. But it's published in my school's literary my high school's, the high school I went to. Yeah. my high school's literary magazine, yeah, which I think I have a copy of. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, so I wrote that in like 15 minutes, and then we had to write another one, which I wrote in a short amount of time too. And it's not necessarily the time that I'm focusing on, but more so how easy it is for me to, not easy, but how natural poetry writing comes to me. So because of that, and I had that realization, I started getting more into poetry, you know. And when it came to writing novels, because I'm very much A to Z person, like I want to go from, I have an idea and I'm ready to be at Z in a matter of like 5 minutes. Like, you know, planning and writing chapters, even though I love novels and novel writing and screenwriting and things like that, I do enjoy those things, but sometimes I just want to, you know, get things out, you know, because my mind moves a mile a minute, so probably a mile a second. It just runs. And so I started poetry, and poetry really helps me get everything for that short moment out, and exactly how I need it. Like, there's no thought to poetry for me. Like, it's really not. It's like, I wouldn't even call it second nature. It's very much first nature. So July of this year, I was in the car and I was like stressing out because I'm like, all right, I'm not in school, not in college. I'm not in school, like college wise, and you know, at the time I don't have like a 9-to-5 job, but poetry is my job. So I'm just like, okay, I need to do something. And then it came to me, publish your poetry on Instagram. And that's exactly what I did. The very next day, I had posted my first 3 poems. And I was very nervous, not because I didn't want to put my poetry out there, because like I said, my poetry has been published in my school's literary magazine, and I was on the app Wattpad, and you know, I've shared my writings before, so it was really nothing to that. It was more so I realized how vulnerable, you know, creatives are and content creators are when they're putting out, you know, their craft. It's like your baby, like, you know, and then you're exposing it to like the world, and it's just like, whoa. And I had a moment, I'm like, wow. I have a newfound appreciation for musicians and anyone who was just, you know, create something that's dear to them and puts it out there for others to see. Like, I really do have a new appreciation for it, because it's like, it can be intimidating and very much scary. So July 26, 2020, I had posted on my Instagram account my very first poems, and I had 2 other poems that followed it that same day. So I'm like, all right, I posted the first one, why not post more? You know, why not? I had like tons upon tons of poems that I had already written. They were just sitting in my Google Docs file for 2 years. So I was just like, okay, I got this. So I posted that, and then I kept on posting more, and I was posting the poems that I had previously written, but also I'm like, I want to give fresh content. And you know, before I had posted on Instagram, I started to get back into writing poetry, because for a while I had stopped and I had entered the blog. Like, you know, I had started a blog, which is, you know, still writing, but I'm a writer, just of all sorts. But yeah, but poetry, I want to get back into, you know, the creativity of, you know, poetry. Like, poetry is very creative and it's very expressive. It's the way I express myself. So I started publishing more and more, and I was writing more and more poems. And finally, I'm like, okay, this is, I'm getting my poetry is becoming, why can I not get my words together? My poetry is being recognized, you know, but I'm like, I know I can go bigger. I'm a very big dreamer. I dream big. I'm dreaming 24/7, and my dreams are like out of this world. I'm like, I'm ready for the next step. So fast forward to the end of September, I I was like, okay, talk to the universe. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to publish this book. I'm really unsure as to how to publish it, and I'm just like, help, help me. So then I got the idea of, I remembered, because I had looked into publishing a book before, but never went through with it at the time, and I had remembered the service that I used, and for any other poets or writers or anyone who just wants to release a book, I use KDP on Amazon. It's kdp.amazon.com, and it's a free website that you can publish your books, and they do, like, you have to provide the content, and as far as everything else, they do that. Yeah. So I published it, and here we are today. The book has a matte finish, so, like, you know, gotta be careful with the surfaces. I love matte everything. So, ESZBRZE. A lot of people are asking me how do I pronounce that. It's ESZBRZE. Now, the story behind that is that in August of 2017, I had created a Finsta. For those who don't know what a Finsta is, it's an Instagram account, but it's different than like your main Instagram account. It's like a Instagram account where you only want a select few people on there, I guess. I never really knew like the definition of a Finsta, but yeah, I had a Finsta, and one day I was on my phone and the TV was on behind me, and I'm like, man, I want to change my name on my Finsta because it was basic. It was, well, it really wasn't basic, but it was my name, but it was like basic because I knew, well, my name's not basic, but yeah, I just didn't want it. I wanted something new. So I was listening to the television, like the TV was on, but my back was to the TV, and I was just laying on my bed on my phone, and I was in the middle of changing my name, and then a commercial came on and I heard the commercial, and it kind of just clicked in my head, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna change up the spelling now, because, you know, change up the spelling and make it look different, and that's how I got the name ESZBRZE. Now, as to why I used it for my poetry book and poetry overall, like ESZBRZE is kind of like my writing name, and it's because I took the concept of a Finsta. You know, you typically post things that you wouldn't want people on your main account to see, or like, you know, you post like your, it's like almost like mine, I just posted a whole bunch of memes and stuff. So I guess you could say mine was more like a spam account. I don't know. Like but I know some people, like, they vented on theirs and, like, you know, express their deepest thoughts. Like I said, I just posted memes on mine, but I took that concept of, you know, voicing your deepest thoughts and, like, creating a safe space through my poetry for me to do so. You know, I'm expressive, but when it comes to like my deep emotions, not at all. Like, I'd rather much keep that to myself, and poetry became that outlet for me. So some of these poems, I would never in a million years thought that I would even write it, let alone publish it for others to see, but here I am now. So that's why I decided to use ESZBRZE. And then also I looked up the numerology behind that, and I was like, oh yeah, like this is definitely it. So ESZBRZE, for those who were wondering how it is pronounced, ESZBRZE. It's very easy breezy. It's very easy. So yeah, that's all that I have for today. I mean, yeah, ESZBRZE is available on Amazon for purchase at $22.22. The paperback and the ebook is available on Kindle and Kindle Unlimited for $9.99, or if you have Kindle Unlimited, you could get it for free. Thank you for tuning in today, and I'll see you not tomorrow, but another day. Bye.